Well, hi. It is the last part of my top 25 WCW pay-per-views. On the previous shows, I've gone through some honorable mentions at the very beginning. I don't have any more honorable mentions. And honestly, the honorable mentions were really just other ones you could check out that had some good matches. Maybe not the best main events, or maybe not, everything was great. But overall, they were solid shows. So anyway, I had gone through 25 through 10, and now I'm going to do my top 9. It's kind of weird. It's kind of staggered how I do my numbers. Like for my worst edition, I think I did 25 through 17 and did 16 through 9, and then I did 8 through 1. So this is going to be 9 through 1. Again, I want to basically just say here, even though people, if you watch the previous videos, you'll know by now, I have not, I don't remember every single thing. I don't remember every single thing about these events, but I remember enough about them after looking at the cards, on Wiki and reflecting back on it, and looking at cards on like other websites, like the match cards. I remember what I liked more. If I liked something way more than stuff I disliked, like if there were a couple matches I didn't like, but if I liked like 7 or 8 matches, more than like 1 or 2, then it's going to get on the list if I really like those 8 matches. So anyway, that's basically the criteria as to why I'm doing this. If you want to check out my top 25 worst WCW pay-per-views, it's on the list of videos. You could also check out the playlist that I did, top 25, or it's WCW pay-per-view shows from this year, which I'm going through my favorite matches, and I need to get back into that. I have all those written down on like very little paper, and I'm actually probably going to do those sometime soon, maybe next week. But I got a lot of shows. I got a lot of shows to shoot, a lot of backlog shows. So really, those probably aren't going to happen until sometime in October. Anyway, so let's get on with this list. Great American Bash 1996. I actually forgot that I put this on there, as I said in my second video. I thought that I had put Slamboree on here instead of Great American Bash 96, but I kind of wrote out a whole bunch of stuff. So anyway, Great American Bash 96 was really fun. Dean Malenko and Rey Mysterio tore the house down in a great cruiserweight match. Sting versus Luger happened. There was some really good stuff. There was some really good stuff, and you had Nash hurl Bischoff off the stage through tables for the whole hostile takeover thing, which was really well done. I mean, I think I get goosebumps just thinking about how well that storyline was done. But the pay-per-view itself just had a really good amount of undercard. The main event between Sting and Giant was fine. It was fine as fine as any of the other matches that they had, except the match they had on Raw in August of 2015. Oh God, it's August or I think it was sometime in September. I don't remember. All I remember is WWE used Sting really badly. Except when his debut happened, they had him. He lost both the pay-per-view matches. But whatever. Anyway, Great American Bash 96. Still really good stuff. And I apologize, by the way, if I'm coughing a little bit or if I sound a little off. I haven't been feeling all that well. But I wanted to shoot these shows while I had the energy, so I hope you bear with me, as I really enjoy if you watch these and if you like them, and if you want to tweet to me at Reborn Again or BOURNE again, maybe sometime down the road, if I'm shooting shows here, like if I have to pet sit or anything at my friend's apartment, because obviously I don't live here, I'm more than willing to have people call in on Skype or whatever, or call me on my cell. If you say have Verizon or whatever, if you guys want to call in, I'll put you on speaker and we'll just talk. And we'll just talk about whatever event. So that's an offer to anybody. Let's get back to the countdown, though. Wrestle War 1992. Sting Squadron versus the Dangerous Alliance in a War Games match. Is that something I could interest you in just based on that? Yes. Yes, that was a good match. Also a good undercard. But that was a really good War Games match. And, oh yeah, I'm going to get to another War Games match here in a little bit. But Wrestle War 92 was really fun. And it was sad that the Dangerous Alliance didn't last longer than it did. But Steve Austin, Bobby Eaton, Arn Anderson, Rick Rude, Larry Zbyszko. I believe that was it. I know that Steve Austin was somebody that Paul Heyman lobbied for to be part of the Dangerous Alliance, and it worked really well. So then but Wrestle War 92 was a very fun event and gets into my top 10 here. And now we're at number 7, Bash at the Beach 94. Hogan versus Flair. The match that WWE should have had happen at Mania 8. They didn't. I'm guessing that neither one wanted to put the other one over, which sounds like something that both men, especially Hulk Hogan, would do. But still, Bash at the Beach 94 was built around that match. It worked gangbusters. Both those guys performed really well. And there were other good matches on the card also. But that was the main reason. That match was the main reason. Even though I'm not fond of Hogan and his racist rant, I'm still going to put this on there. And it was a hell of a pay-per-view. And really started to show that, oh, hey, WCW's here to play. And it worked really well. Number 6, Great American Bash, 1992. You had Sting versus Vader in a very good title match. And you also had a tag team tournament. I'm a mark for tournaments. I like very good tag team wrestling also. And it's just had so many good tag team matches. I mean, I'm not even going to try to list them. But they were really, really good. I encourage you guys to check out Great American Bash 1992. As to me, 1992 was a great year for WCW pay-per-views. Great year. In fact, it's like if you want anything about history, and you could always tweet to me. I put up my Twitter handle earlier. You can always tweet to me, and you can ask me questions. I mean, it's like I was only 11 at the time, but I remember quite a bit of WCW, and there were some really, really solid pay-per-views from Super Bowl II all the way to Starrcade 92. Which, oh yeah, I'll get to that. A little spoiler alert. Great American Bash 92 was fun. It was really fun. Great tag team wrestling. I mean, I loved it. It was great stuff. And the Vader-Sting match was great. Because you had Vader. Vader was one of the few monster heels. Like, and I'm not just talking weight-wise or height-wise. Just one of the few guys who was booked like a monster that could make it seem believable that he could beat his opponent, beat the shit out of his opponents, but also believable that his opponents could beat him. He was very good. Vader should be in the Hall of Fame. Vader and Rick Rude should be in the fucking Hall of Fame next year. I'm just going to say that really quickly. Not extend time or anything. I'm not going to try to extend time. But Vader needs to be in the WWE Hall of Fame next year. Rick Rude needs to be in the Hall of Fame. Oh, wait. That's a show I maybe think I should do pretty soon. It's 10 people that WWE needs to put in the Hall of Fame now. Or, immediately. If not sooner. Anyway, but Great American Bash 92 was just fantastic. And Vader and Sting was great. Great, title match to include among the tag team tournament, which was solid. Just solid work by all involved. Now we go to number 5, and I had to put this one high. Because it featured one of my favorite matches. One of my favorite moments, but also because it was good. It was a good pay-per-view. Fall Brawl 1996. Team NWO versus Team WCW in the War Games match. You had Super Calo versus Rey Mysterio Jr. You had DDP versus Chavo Guerrero when DDP was beating up Eddie Guerrero and Chavo wanted to defend the family's honor. You had the Giant versus Randy Savage. You had other matches also, but the War Games match is what it built up to. I mean, I get goosebumps just thinking about it. I'm not going to do too much about it, because I got a top 5 and top 5 best and top 5 worst War Games show to do at some point. But you had just this build of, did Sting join the NWO? You find out at the end that he didn't, but Sting was pissed off, after trusting Luger, and Luger betrayed him, and then Sting trusting Luger again. He just finally snapped at Luger, because it was Luger, Arn Anderson, and Ric Flair, and he was so upset. Took out the entire NWO. That good enough for you? Did that and left. And it was great because it led to a transformation in Sting's character and was fantastic. But the pay-per-view itself was really, really fun. It was a great end to the pay-per-view, though. Great end with that War Games match. Not the bloodiest. And it was really sad that you could tell that Arn Anderson suffered his neck problems in that at one point when Scott Hall was taking his head and repeatedly bashing it against the back of the cage. Now, I'm not going to try to do it the same way. I have neck and concussion issues. But just suffice to say, you see it, you're just like, ow, ow. And Arn Anderson's just doing this. He's holding his neck, he's holding his head. I'm like, oh. I felt so bad because Arn Anderson's such a great workhorse in wrestling. It's really sad how his career ended due to a botched surgery because the surgeon was a fucking idiot. Anyway, Starrcade 1989 is number 4. It had to be on this list. You had a great round robin tournament, which wasn't. I mean, okay, it was a tag team tournament and it was a singles tournament. It was like just 4 teams and 4 singles wrestlers, But still, I mean, it was pretty damn solid. The point system got confusing, but the matches were pretty fun, even if Flair and Muta ended a little quickly. But it was still really, really good. And you had Sting beating Flair at the end, which was really solid. And you had Steiners versus the Road Warriors, which was a rare match that we should have gotten to see more often. That was pretty good stuff. And it was just, Starrcade 89 was really, really fun. I mean, there were other matches, obviously, but it was a really, really fun match. It was a really fun match to watch, both those and any other matches, even if the tournament aspect didn't work all that well at WrestleMania 4, even though I love the fact that Randy Savage won the title. Basing it around a whole tournament kind of got bad. But Starrcade 89 did the best they could with it. And to me, it was still a solid pay-per-view based on all the talent that they had. Even had Doom on there. Not the game. I mean, that would be a little difficult considering the game came out in 92, 93. But the tag team of Butch Reed and Ron Simmons. But it was still really fun. It was a really fun pay-per-view, and it's high on the list for that reason. Spring Stampede 1994. Steve Austin versus the Great Muta. Flair versus Steamboat. Sting versus Rick Rude. Are those three matches I could interest you in 1994? I believe so. It was a really, really fun one. And it was the commentary in the Sting Rude match by Bobby Heenan always made me laugh. Because it's like he took him out at the knee or whatever. He used the belt to do the Rude Awakening. And Bobby Heenan's like, I wouldn't have done that. Shivani's like, you wouldn't? He's like, no, about a nice length of chain or whatever, maybe some piano wire. Shivani's like, you're sick. He's like, no, I feel great. And it's just really fun. It was just really, really fun. The only part of the match I didn't care for was Rick Rude getting his tights pulled down at one point. I'm like, God, why? Why do we need that Rude Awakening? We did not need that. It was terrible. But anyway, it was still fun. It was a great pay-per-view. And those three matches in particular are why it's on this list. But there were some other ones, good ones besides that. And then Starrcade 1992. It was really close between this and number one. Really, really close. The only reason I put this one a little lower, you had Chono versus Muta, Sting versus Vader, and you had other matches on there too. And some other pretty good matches. But the Battle Bowl thing, I didn't care for that. I like the Battle Bowl concept. They did it better in this one than they did in Starrcade 91. But I didn't like the Battle Bowl thing, and I didn't like the Battle Bowl, Rumble, Battle Royal, even though it was all in one ring instead of two rings. I still didn't care for it. But at least it served its purpose. And this one, Sting versus Vader is one of my favorite matches in WCW history, because it just had such great psychology of Sting tiring Vader out by doing the whole Ali rope-a-dope thing. And then Sting was able to beat Vader in a great match. He always had great matches, whether it was 92, 93, whether it was WCW or in Japan. It was great. It was great stuff. And Starrcade 92 gets on the list mainly for that reason, and Chono versus Muta, and a couple other matches. But number one, Starrcade 1993. It had to be. It had to be because Flair Vader was one of the pinnacles of main events in WCW history. Absolutely wonderful. It's great stuff. Steve Austin versus Dustin Rhodes was also a good match, and there were a number of good matches on that card. But Flair versus Vader was what people paid to see. It was in Flair's backyard. Great emotion. I mean, not literally his backyard, but it was in North Carolina. But that would have been odd if he had a place that big that he could have built a stadium in the back or an arena in the back. But anyway, enough bad joking, but that's what I'm known for doing. Vader really put the Flair over great. Vader really put Flair over great, and it was really solid. It was really solid stuff. And Flair even got a busted tooth at one point. His parents got to see him wrestle. The rest of his family was there. Most family members. It was really good, and Flair winning the title is fantastic. I really enjoyed the event as a whole. Starrcade 93 is number one on my list. So anyway, that's it, and I will be back later, folks. Follow me on Twitter if you'd like at Reborn again, REBOURNE again.